platforms and all of that. It's probably safe to say a lot of them just went. They weren't sent. Talk about me later. Talk about me later. Talk about me later. And you'll understand where I'm going in a few minutes. There's a line. I'm taking a quote from something Martin Luther King said back in the day. He said, injustice anywhere threatens justice everywhere. That includes the platforms that we're interacting with even on today. I wrote down this. Just was the cause of justice. Being just. What is justice? Moral correctness, being equitable, fair, and just. But I wrote down just was because it was necessary. Just is, again, because it's necessary. And just us. Doesn't that sound a lot like just us? Justice? Ha! But that's what I wrote down. Period. Point blank. Preordained, established. It's our destiny to walk under the umbrella of justice. It's yours. It doesn't matter your culture. It doesn't matter your economical standing. It doesn't matter whether you're educated or no. Everyone has a right to justice. Again, Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere threatens justice everywhere. Now, let's talk a little bit. Everything that I'm telling you is what came to me over the last couple of weeks. It's not something I read through a book. I'm just giving it to you how I got it. I said to God the Creator, divine, the mother or father of universe, whatever you want to call for me, he's God, he's the Lord, he's Yahweh, he's Elohim, he's Jehovah, Alpha and Omega, and so on and so forth. But this is what I got, and I wrote it down, and I'm sharing with you, and hopefully it'll put some things on your mind. We're talking about justice, but that's not the subject. I'm going to give you a subject in a little bit. One of the things that came to mind is if the matrix exists. I've heard different ones talk about the matrix. What is it? I don't know. I'm not going into all of that. I'm writing what I got. In regards to the matrix, this is what I was told. If it exists, we're all contributors to the matrix. Let me tell you how. I know y'all ready to shout back at me while you're listening to me, but this is what I got. Google. Y'all know what Google is, right? It is a prominent search engine. I wrote down one of the greatest wormholes that exists. Then just today the word repository came to mind. It's a gigantic repository of pools. Okay? For an example, you want to look up the word earth, some will go to Google, put it in the search engine, and hit OK, search or whatever, and then it pulls different things up about what you put in there, earth. So it's the grandiose pool in North America, and I don't know what they call it internationally, I don't know, but I'm sure they have search engines there too. But still, if a matrix exists, you're a participant in that matrix anytime you make a pull. YouTube, a repository, one of the greatest wormholes of pushes. What usually happens on YouTube is there are videos made, there's offerings made, and they're put online, and they're full of views, they're full of interest. It could be anything. but it is a repository of what has been pushed into it. Again, if a matrix exists, you are a participant, you are a co-conspirator, you're a part of it if you participate in YouTube. And then finally, tweet. I want to be careful. Intellectual property, you know. And then you have chirps gone wild on something called the Twitter. Well, Charles, what are you getting at? Okay, let me sum it up for the sake of time. Let's say there's an entity that wants to create a prominent baseline or heartbeat of what's going on in the world. Anybody got it? Did it just go over anybody's head? And they have some sort of insight of privilege or opportunity, whether through payment or not, to find out what the baseline of, let me give you an example. Anything doing with psychology, anything dealing with commerce, anything dealing with industry, anything related to the area of law or governance. There is an entity, if they're interested, and they can find out the activities that have taken place within Google, within YouTube, to know the heartbeat or the baseline of what's going on in society. Now, here for me is where it gets dangerous. I just talked about Google being the source of pools, whatever you're interested in. It's a repository for pools. And that YouTube is a repository for whatever's pushed out there. I know they got people out there watching stuff coming in and going out. I got it. And they try to give you those little warnings that, you know, privacy and all of that. Look, if whatever that entity is, I'm trying to be careful with my words, I'll let you fill in the spaces, wants to know the baseline of what people's thoughts are in government, what people's thoughts are on a psychological level. If the matrix exists and you use these tools, then you're a part of that. Why are you saying something? Look, injustice anywhere threatens justice everywhere. And to be forewarned is to be forearmed. You have the ability to push into YouTube, and you have the ability to pull from Google. On the flip side of that, this entity that shall remain nameless has the same privilege of pushing into society what they want to see, what baseline they want to see, and they also have the privilege, opportunity to pull from society what they don't want to see. Y'all see where I'm going? Dangerous. The potential. Warning. I'm seeing that what is that? Will Robinson. Warning. Why am I telling you this? I guess somebody needed to hear it, because that's what I was told and that's what I wrote down. I didn't read it. I just wrote down what I saw. One of the greatest repositories of pulls and one of the greatest repositories of pushes. And on the flip side, an entity. Y'all wonder why. What was that video back in the day? And I'm not looking to mess with anybody's intellectual property, but back in the day, girls